Alright, Merts, welcome to the CineMerts podcast with Max Coulson and Levi Johnson. Today we watched Withnail I. I'm Max Coulson.
Yes, and I'm Levi Johnson.
Withnail I, your first time watching, not mine, although it's been a long time since I last saw it. Really interesting film. We only came up with this film to do today, and I said it's kind of a hard sell as a movie because it's kind of doesn't really have much in the way of plot. It's two alcoholic, struggling actors decide to go on holiday, and then come back.
It's also really interesting because this is kind of something that I've been saying cinema is kind of just low-key missing. There's no hero's journey, which apparently is just total bullshit anyway. I saw a video by Maggie Mayfish.
Yeah, I saw it as well.
Which made me really happy because I could not finish that fucking book because I've got Joseph Campbell's Hero of 1,000 Faces, and I was like, everything sounds way better when everyone simplified it and explained it in like 10 minutes, but like going through this book, I just can't help but keep going, this sounds like bullshit.
Yeah, I've never really liked the hero's journey. Not that I dislike it, but I don't like the idea of like applying it to every story. I do use, like when I write, I use the Blake Snyder beat sheet, which is sort of modeled on the hero's journey, but I use it just purely for structure. I kind of ignore a lot of the core plot elements it suggests. It's just like, this is good for pacing.
Yes. The thing that I think that makes this film really interesting is because it kind of rejects that hero's journey. Now, some guy will go, oh, actually, going to a farm is the call to adventure. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and I suppose you can argue that by the end of it, the narrator, Paul McGann's character, it's one of those things where the main character isn't really named, which...
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think he was properly named, was he?
No, he's not. I think he's just the narrator. But it could be argued, like, you know, by the end, there's some growth.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it
feels also slightly incidental, because realistically, the biggest change that happens is he's offered a job.
Yeah.
Which would have happened had they stayed in the place anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also he was told that he had the audition at the start of the film, and at no point did he spend any of the film preparing for the role or getting more serious or going.
Yeah.
You know, he makes that decision. I need to move on from this after getting the role, and that's like the end of the film. So yeah, it's more of a character study than anything.
Which, again, we don't really see much character studies now. Like, no. It seems like they are all but kind of dead because of big cinema.
Yeah, and it's a shame because, like, some of my favourite movies across the board have been, like, real character studies, I think. You know, like, Taxi Driver, like, that's one of my favourite movies. I fucking love that film, and that's purely a character study. Like John Waters' films eschew plot. His early movies eschew like normal plot in favour of just focusing on characters and going like, we're just going to throw you into this world. Harmony Korine does the same thing. But yeah, it is one of those things where I think as even independent cinema has moved more and more to try and emulate Hollywood, these sort of stories have been relegated to TV, and even then
they try and be as eye-catching and attention-grabbing, so something would have happened. Because part of what I do quite like about this movie is that nothing happens, because, you know, it's set around real life.
Yeah.
So in real life, let's be real, whatever happened to anyone really? Like, you know? Like, yeah, there was a couple of people who had some big stuff happen to them. Most of the time, your life is just pretty normal. Like, even if there's really bad stuff happening, it's like, oh no, I got an eviction letter. You know, like, it's pretty devastating, but like, and the actual cinematic scale, it's pretty much nothing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I've been like, I mean, it's a good example of eviction because I've been evicted twice, and you couldn't make a movie out of either of them. It's extremely boring. You get evicted. It's actually quite a long process. There's a couple of months where just nothing really happens, and you just live as you normally would be, except you're trying a little bit harder to get extra work here and there, but like there's not much you can do. So.
Yeah.
And then you end up not, and I spent a little bit of a stint of time like sofa surfing and stuff. Again, it's very boring. It's not very dramatic.
Yeah. It's like, I know I'm homeless. Is it going to be like a movie where like some guys try to mug me because I'm home? Oh no, I just go to different people's houses.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like you're saying is like the worst awkward thing is like waiting for people to go to bed because it's their house, really.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's like the worst thing about couch surfing is, yeah, you're just kind of waiting around like, oh, I'm tired. I've finished work and I've eaten now, and just kind of want to go to bed really, but you're up, so guess that means I'm up.
Yeah.
It's not cinematic, but that doesn't mean you can't build movies around that kind of real life low key thing. But it does mean that it needs to be more character led than plot led, which is what this movie does.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no. I guess you could technically fit this into a 3-act structure, like, but in the most loose of terms possible. I.e., first act, they're talking about going on holiday. Second act, they go on holiday. Third act, they come home from holiday. Which...
Pretty much, yeah. Like, the film is a really nice, like you're saying, character study piece. Except there's one bit that I'm like, oh man, why though? Where, I don't know, maybe it's me, but I'm like, man, this feels kind of homophobic to me. Like,
Monty.
Yeah, but yeah. He's like, hey, this guy, because like you said, they're struggling actors.
Mm-hmm.
So they're extremely flamboyant, and
particularly Withnail.
Yeah, constantly going into lines of monologues.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, actors do that, especially theatre actors. And the two of them are obviously living together. At one point, Withnail shows up, and the narrator character is just in the bath shaving, and Withnail just walks in, and he's like, "Hey, dude, what's going on?" And they're just eating like chips. So I was like, "Oh yeah, these guys, both actors, they're like very, very close and comfortable around each other. They're very touchy-feely. I'm guessing they're gay." I was like, "Oh yeah, because they're in a gay relationship." Because one guy even starts calling him a ponce, and they're like, "This guy called me a ponce." And I was like, "Ponce? I'm pretty sure that's yeah. So I was like, "Yeah, like these guys are gay. Like we've been made." So they run away, and you're like, "No, man, they're not gay." I'm like, "They're not gay? All right." And then they meet Monty, who's a rich guy who's kind of out of touch, right? Like, yeah, okay. And he's just extremely flamboyant.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's flamboyant is not much different than the fact that they're like freaking actors. So like,
yeah.
Like, so I was like, oh, okay, so they're all the same. Then I kind of like saw the similarities and thought, are they going to say something about like how they kind of all get like picked on for being like flamboyant or something like this, or going to see some kind of like solidarity between them here? And then I was like, oh, they're doing this mistaken like where the narrator thinks that Monty is coming onto him. Yeah, that's classic, because he's got like a bit of prejudice there and he probably has to learn about it.
Yeah.
And then Monty's like, I'm here to have you, even if it must be by burglary. I'm like, oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So it is kind of fucked that the only unambiguously gay character in the film is that fucking predatory.
Yeah.
Granted, there are I don't think it's unreasonable to have a read on the film that Withnail and the narrator are gay, and that they're not out even to themselves, but they're gay. And I think particularly the narrator definitely reads as being gay. Withnail, not so much. He's just a drunk, really, and that's the main thing. And he's completely self-centered. So, like, obviously, part of the reason that sort of mix up, if you like, happens. I mean, Monty's still like a fucking like attempted rapist, but the reason that he was coming onto him in the first place is it turns out because Withnail told him that like that the narrator is into fucking cottagen, and like
yeah, that was so weird when he like
he's a toilet trader.
He's a toilet trader, and I was like, I have no idea. Like I'm just a rookie. I don't know anything about the LGBT community. So I don't know what any of these things are. So he's like, he's a toilet trader. I'm like, does he think he sells like toilets? Like, and he's like, that's a lowly profession.
I'm assuming it means someone who's into cottagen. It might possibly mean just like a rent boy. I don't know because that's very dated terminology.
Yeah. Because I was like, he's dated. Like, oh god, like maybe it gets floated, banded about, but it feels way old.
Yeah.
Again, going back to the fact that like there's not really any development for the characters. I was kind of expecting like maybe a minor like, hey, don't be weird to gay people. Like, nope.
Yeah,
he kind of just is like, oh man, that guy tried to like do it with me, but like, you know, didn't, and then left in the morning.
Yeah, and then move on.
Yep. And they're like, right, well, let's go home. I did like the Chekhov's gun though.
The Chekhov's gun?
Yeah, man. Where they go,
oh, the piss bottle?
Yeah, he's like, I got this special device for beating the police.
Oh,
it's a piss bottle. You're like, what? He's like, yeah, you piss in a bowl. Like,
you get a child to piss in the bottle.
yeah, kids piss in the bottle. And then you like you strap like it to your body, and there's a little hose that you strap to your dick, and you refuse any type of breathalyzer or anything, and only accept a piss test. And then you let out the piss from the hose into the thing. Like, what the fuck kind of thing is this? Like, all right, I'm glad you brought it up, but then used it. Let's go.
Yeah, they use it, and it doesn't work.
Yeah,
he gets caught like immediately.
Immediately, like it's so weird because he's just staring at the police officer in the face, and then the police officer just like, let me just walk over and like pull the curtain away, and he doesn't even try to hide it. He's just there like, well, this is happening. Like,
but again, it's not like a big plot though. And the next scene, they just getting home.
Yeah, because I was gonna be like, well, is this gonna be like what ends? Like he's in jail or something for a while? Like what? Nope.
No, they just go home.
Like, remember, guys, drink driving's fine.
Yeah,
there aren't any consequences. At least not in 1969.
Yeah, I was gonna say this was the 60s. Like, it was probably a £20 fine or something.
That's a lot of freaking money, dude.
To be fair, in 60s money, that's a lot of money. Yeah.
Like that's like 20 weeks worth of like groceries, like milk, eggs, and whatever it's called.
Yeah, and they're only on the dole. So
yeah.
That's one of the lines I like in it, actually, is when Paul McGann's character says to Monty, we have to go and sign on. And he goes, well, sign on at a labour exchange? He's like, it's a sort of fashionable thing to do. Because it's like, that's one thing I really like with them, is that they just can't, like, admit that they're broke. Which, again, if you've ever met kind of actors, particularly stage actors, they all do, because they're all broke. Like, stage actors in particular are always broke.
Yep.
Actors in general are usually broke, but stage actors, there's no money in being a stage actor unless you're like actually on Broadway. There's no money in it.
Yep.
So they're always broke.
Let's be real. Like, isn't that just the issue with basically every creative field?
Oh yeah, that's the arts through and through. But obviously the difference is that, you know, as an actor in, say, you know, if you're like a film and TV actor, yeah, like TV work often doesn't pay great, but it pays like something. It's consistent money.
Yeah, I'll say it's the consistency. I think the
Yeah.
more.
Whereas stage, like you're talking about, like, yeah, like you might be doing a production that pays equity minimum wage for a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
Although even then, equity minimum wage really isn't very much, especially not when you consider that it's only while you're actually doing it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's why, yeah, stage actors. It any of the kind of the more old school like performance arts, like classical music, jazz music as well, like the same thing. Which is crazy with like classical and jazz music because obviously like the threshold for entry is already so high.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to like not only for like skill, but also like the amount of money you have to pay to get your instrument because you can't just have any old shit. You need like high quality shit.
Yeah.
And man, you're just gonna have to be in debt. Probably for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's like you can be in debt and you're not making any of this back.
Yeah.
Like
it's like, oh, how much did that like trumpet cost you? Oh, $4,000.
how much did you make back on returns? Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
But stage acting falls under that. Yeah, that's absolutely a thing. Also, let's be real, the creative fields plus rampant alcoholism, well, those are just like, go hand in hand, really. Like Withnail is a very relatable character for me. Not that I relate to him, but that I have known so many people like Withnail.
Yeah.
Anyone who's ever done any kind of like particularly stage related stuff, like theatre work, which I've done a fair bit of.
Yeah, I found myself being like, man, I haven't hung out with actors in quite a while. Like I forgot what it's like being around like this type of actor. Like yeah, it did take me back a bit.
Yeah, it's I think that's the thing. I think everyone in the movie, apart from Monty, because Monty's so OTT. Maybe not. Maybe if you have spent time around like aristocrats, maybe then it becomes more relatable.
It is aristocrats from the 60s as well.
That's also true. But all of the other characters, I believed 100%.
It really threw me for a loop. So there's a guy in this, his name is Danny, and I was like, wait a fucking minute.
I can't believe you spotted this.
I was like, this is the guy from Wayne's World. He's the guy from Wayne's World. Like he tells a story. Like he just has a really like affected way of talking. Well, what you see is there was a thing over there, and I had to get the burger. It's something that happens, you know.
Yeah.
Like I was like, nah. I was like, there's no way unless they're like making a direct reference to somebody famous. There's no way that it can't be the same guy.
And yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Wayne's World 2. He's like the roadie.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild.
So in my head now, they're in the same universe.
Yeah.
Which is really awkward because like Wayne's World is set in the 90s. This was just filmed in the 90s.
Yeah, it's set in the 60s. So like, yeah. Yeah, I think like see Danny, he's a very believable character though. Like that kind of the drug dealer that will not fucking leave you alone. That like, I mean, he to the point that like while they're on holiday, he just breaks into their house and basically just starts living there.
It's like, how'd you get in? Ingenuity. Climbed up the drain pipe.
See, the film is extremely like quotable. I find myself quoting. Like, I mean, like it had been a fair few years since I'd last seen it, and there are lines that I throw out all the time. There's like the what is it? Matter from the beginning when he's cleaning the sink or trying to clean the stuff out of the sink.
Which I thought his whole thing was just to try and get the kettle off the thing because they were going to burn it, but I was like, they're like, yeah, fuck it. Just reach around in there.
Also, the when he drinks the lighter fluid at the start, it's like Withnail, like they're desperate. They've got no booze, and the pub doesn't open for like 4 hours. So like he gets desperate and drinks lighter fluid, and then he goes, "Is there any more?" "No." "Liar, what's in your toolbox?" "Nothing." "Liar, you've got antifreeze." And my favorite, like, that's such a good line where he goes, like, "You idiot, you should never mix your drinks."
Fucking lighter fluid and antifreeze. Like, what the fuck? It was interesting seeing like an older side of like the UK as well. Like,
It's wild to me how real they made it feel. Like, it really does look like something that was shot in the 60s.
yeah.
Like, it's really jarring because, like, the actors are, the main actors are all, pretty well-known actors, like, or at least, Paul McGann and the guy who played Withnail, whose name has just completely left me, Richard E. Grant. They're both, like, pretty prominent actors, and I know how old they are, so it's weird to see them in something that feels that much older.
Yeah.
But like, it is amazing how well they did it. Like, it right down to like when they're on the motorway, and it's just empty save for like the Imperial cars, and nothing looks wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but you don't see any like out of place signage or anything like that. You don't see anything that would pull you out.
Yeah. It was impressive.
Yeah.
I was quite impressed.
Particularly like all the London stuff, because like it's not that impressive with like the countryside so much, because that's easy enough. You know what I mean? The countryside doesn't really change all that much, so it's just you're gonna find some old farmhouses and shit. Hell, the tractors are the same. I like I know a couple of farmers in like in the early 2000s, and they were still driving like tractors from the 70s. So like
Yeah.
it works. Plus, who the fuck knows enough about tractors to go, oh, that's a few years out.
Yeah, there's always that one guy though, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I bet there is a ton of stuff like that if you're actually paying attention. I bet there is this like, that car wasn't actually made until 1973 and whatever. The fact is that it really does feel like that. And right down to, it's like they shot it on a grainier film stock as well. It felt warmer.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's something like they actually shot it on an older film stock, or if it was done in post. It feels like it's real. Though,
it must be real, because I'm just thinking about it. Like, adding film grain in post, I don't think that was really a big thing in like the 90s.
I don't even know how doable it would have been. But
yeah.
Like, yes.
Like, to not have it look a little bit forced anyway.
Yeah, because like, digital editing, like, editing with computers was new at that point in time. I mean, when did that come about? Like late 80s. So, and it was primitive. It was basically just gave you the same amount of options that you had cutting film by hand.
Yeah.
It just meant you could do it a bit more precisely and a bit quicker. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think they could have really done it in post.
Yeah, just like not effectively, because I think for a film of that like type, I think it would have just cranked the budget too much.
Yeah, and I don't think it was a particularly like big budgeted film or anything like that. Yes, all of those actors are kind of really well respected now, but I think they were relatively like small time at that point in time.
Okay.
Like, I think they kind of blew up because of that film. I could be wrong, but I think so. One detail I do know actually about, I don't normally look too much into this sort of stuff, but Richard E. Grant, who played Withnail, apparently he's never had a drink in his life.
Wow.
He's completely teetotal, which props, because he plays that shit realistic.
Yeah. He's like, at the same time, I'm like, he is a thespian though, so who like just lean into that a little bit.
That's true. And he is a proper old school sort of actor, to be fair.
One of the things I did like in the movie was like it was almost the animeification of acting. So like they'll get into a confrontation and they'll be like, bam, I'm just going to play this character. No, you see, actually, we are millionaires. That is why you can't throw us out. We're millionaires. Ha ha ha. But then there's like this double twist at the same time, because at no point does it ever work.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I think there might have been one time where they kind of play off like an acting thing.
The only time they do, I think,
Is it
is
with
in
Monty?
kind of. Although I'd say with him, it's a little bit different because that guy's completely out of his mind. Like, I mean, the way Monty's introduced is so fucking bizarre anyway. Like, the guy's, like, growing vegetables in flower pots and chasing his cat around. Like, he, like, hates his cat.
Yeah.
It's like, it's your cat.
Yeah, that was great. Like, the cat just on the sofa and he's like, "Oh, you're always in
Well,
here."
like, even when he tells them to leave, it's because of the cat. He's like, you must leave. You must leave. That oaf has ruined my day.
He was like, fucking oaf. Like, it's a fucking cat, dude. Like, you alright?
Also, the cat hasn't, like, done it. It didn't, like, knock anything over. It just appeared.
Yeah.
And he's just immediately enraged. The cat just is sharing a room with him.
Like, I want to see the spin-off story where it's basically Garfield, except it's like him, Monty, and that cat.
But anyway, I think the only time it really works, the acting thing, is it's in the pub when there's that the old guy who's serving them, and Withnail pretends to be like ex-military.
Yeah, and he's like, "You can always tell, you can't hide it." Yeah, all right.
I think my favorite part in that is that the narrator is just like cracking up and not even trying to disguise it. Like, he's not covering his mouth or anything.
Yeah.
He's just laughing. And obviously that, like, the barman is supposed to be like an old drunk. So he's probably pretty easy to trick, which is why it worked. But yeah, generally speaking, it doesn't work. Like, they try it a whole bunch of times, and also, like, because half of their confrontations are imagined confrontations anyway, like the whole sort of B plot with the poacher,
Yeah,
who they're convinced is going to try and kill them because Withnail, like, talked a bunch of shit at him, and no, nothing happened. The first time they think he's broken into the house and it turns out to be Monty, and then the second interaction with him, he's just brought him a rabbit.
yeah, because it was like, they're like, "Oh, sell us like some of your food." He's like, "No." Like, come on, don't be a prick about it. It's like, "I can get you a rabbit." "We don't want a rabbit, we want a pheasant." "No." "This guy's trying to kill us."
Yeah.
Then he just shows up with a rabbit. Like...
Yeah, because they're, like, completely, like,
they're
paranoid and, like, because they're alcoholics, and also probably because they're, like, thespians, they've got that real, like, they're like, it's their job to hyper dramatize everything anyway. So yeah,
because like when that guy is like calling him a ponce in the pub,
Spider, it's on the row.
Ah, cheers. That would have been awkward for it to be on me. Yeah, go up the wall. Do it. Do it. Do it. Oh, you just thought. I was going to wait for it to go up the wall, and then I was going to catch it. All right.
It just fell.
Yeah, it just fell.
Yeah, spiders are crap.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, that like hyper paranoid thing, again, I don't want to just keep harping on about how realistic the portrayal is, but God, like, because that's true of both alcoholics and theatre people. Like, I have known a few. I think I've told you a few stories about, like, ridiculous paranoia among some of the theatre people I know.
Yeah, is there always like, there is a plot afoot?
In fact, you know what? Fuck it. She's not going to hear this. I'm going to mention one of the stories. I'm not going to say her name anyway. Basically, this one woman who I worked with, in the rehearsal space that she was using, there was a break-in. There had been signs of a break-in. Like, she came to the door. It had been kind of clearly forced open. And it's pretty obvious that what was happening is a homeless person had used one of the rooms to sleep in. You know, one of the room, like, it was one of the back rooms. It kind of stank afterwards. And it's kind of, you know, pretty obvious that's what happened. She got completely in her own head about it, that he was still going to be in the building somewhere. So she grabbed a knife out of the fucking kitchen area and was going from room to room with a knife.
Like, yeah, that's wildly unnecessary. Like,
Yeah.
you just be like, can you leave? Like, all right.
Yeah. Because but it is the thing. Like I think there is some aspect of maybe you need it to be a stage actor.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe you need that kind of
There is like
eccentricity to you. Like
yeah, there is like a certain level of like character eccentricity. Yeah, that's like one of the things I just really remember about a lot of theatre actors. It's just that flamboyance, that extra, that just level to go an extra level.
I get it as well because like I'm not a theatre actor, but I have done some theatre acting, and I know you're kind of the same.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I always was fighting the temptation to dial it back.
Yes.
That's constantly
Yes.
the thing because when you used to playing for film, like you want a level of subtlety.
Yes.
You don't want any subtlety when you're acting on stage. You need to be big and dramatic and loud.
Hold on. No! Oh, that totally hit him in the face. Fuck you, Summer. So we're in like the second heat wave.
Yeah.
So we have like, yeah, we'll record with the window open, and now there's a moth in the room. Balls. It's fine.
Anyway, yeah, I think you need like to be the sort of person who never has the urge to dial it back.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, you need to be a sort of certain eccentric type of person to have that instinct.
Yeah. Like it's weird because when I was younger, I kind of like, I think I'm just terrible at this acting thing because I did well, you go to performing arts in college, and basically they just train you for stage. So I was like a theatre trained actor, but I was like, I think I'm just not cut out for this because I just don't go big like that. I can project, I can do large stuff, and it's hilarious because I am quite a large character. But yeah, like I was like, what is this? And it was always my urge to go subtler with a lot of stuff. And now that I'm a bit older, I find that I'm just a bit, oh, for fuck's sake. Just imagine just being a moth and you're just this fucking stupid.
They are they are properly shit. I don't really understand them. I know that the light like fucks up their navigation system, but I don't understand how they've survived this long with that shit of a navigation system.
Yeah.
Like this level of light does exist in nature, like
and it's like, what if moths do? Do they just like go, hey, look, it's the moon, and let me like, and there's no other light around? They're like, let me just go fly up to the moon,
right?
Oh no, another one's trying to get in. Well, like here, I'm trying to get this one out. Go away. Everyone hates you. No!
This is good radio.
Yeah. Yeah. Alright, well, that douchebag's over there. Let's carry on.
Right. I think, like, what do I think? I don't fucking know. We've got ages left. This is maybe the problem with talking about a movie that's not super plot heavy.
Yeah.
Which, thinking about it, we have run into this problem before when we reviewed Rubber. This is clearly an issue. When there's not much plot, there's less to talk about.
What themes did you take from the movie? Like what do you hypothesize was the overarching message or story or commentary of the thing?
I think so. Okay, so actually, I do have a bit of a theory with this. So, predatory weirdness aside, I think that Monty, in a lot of ways, is supposed to be kind of Withnail plus 20 years or 30 years.
Okay.
Like he's what Withnail's going to end up, i.e., someone who used to be an actor who lives alone, is kind of has done nothing with his life, but because he's from a wealthy background, he's also kind of never needed to. And I think that's kind of where that separation ends up having to happen at the end, where Paul McGann's character has prospects because he can't not have prospects. He's not from a wealthy background. He's actually, it's this or, he dies, basically.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the one thing I did kind of pick up is, although the movie has a kind of sad end with the two characters kind of separating, and it's kind of like, I have like a job and you don't, and he's like, damn, I'm like an actor, because Withnail's clearly the more dramatic of the two, because he recites more lines. But I think that's kind of almost a way, in his own way, him reinforcing the fact that he's like, no, I am an actor. See, I can say the lines. Whereas the narrator character is less about it, or less about demonstrating that he's an actor, and more about just being an actor.
Yeah. Well, isn't it? I might be getting this wrong, but isn't it mentioned that the narrator gets the audition himself, or got the audition himself?
Yeah, because
whereas Withnail doesn't do that.
Yeah,
he constantly bitches that his agent isn't getting him work.
Yeah, like again, going back to that thing where he's like, he's kind of playing at being an actor.
Yeah,
like he's wealthy. He's not really after like going to do it. So yeah, like,
well, he is even offered something early on, but it's as an understudy, and he refuses to do it.
Yeah, which I was like, it's crazy. Like, why would you not take the understudy position and then, because he's basically a sociopath, just poison the lead? Like,
yeah,
like I thought that could totally be like within its character.
Yeah, I mean, it would work. I mean, he'd fuck it up, but
yeah.
Like, but yeah, I think the thing is though that it thematically though, again, Paul McGann goes for a small part. He has the audition for a smaller part, and he gets the lead.
Oh, I didn't realize you went for the smaller part.
Yeah, because he says that's a line near the end where he just goes like, I didn't get the part I wanted. I got offered the lead. So it's like, yeah. So basically, it's like, he's taking those opportunities. He's chasing them. And even if it is a small part, he's chasing it, and it ends up paying off for him.
Yeah.
Whereas, like Withnail, that's not going to happen for him because like you say, he's playing at being an actor. He just wants it handed to him, probably because, he's from a background where everything was. And is detached from reality, and he is he's been bred to be a bit of a sociopath because, well, no one's ever said no to him before.
Yeah.
But also it's like, I think there is that kind of codependency that had happened between him and the narrator, where the narrator needs to separate himself from that, otherwise he's going to end up going down the same route. Except he doesn't have that same safety blanket.
Yeah, because that was the thing I was thinking at the end of the day. Look, you're like, oh, it's kind of sad, but it's like, actually, he's always going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what happens, he'll be like, Uncle Monty. It was his uncle, right? Monty?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, Uncle Monty, please look after me. And he will. Like, Monty will be like, you're shit, because, like, that was hilarious, because Monty was like, how do you not know how to peel like potatoes? Like, you're crap, Withnail.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny because he's like, this is how you live life, the basics. This is how you chop wood and do things. Huh, all right. But yeah.
I think that's well. It's like also, it speaks to the living conditions that they have, right? In the flat, they do nothing. At the start, like Paul McGann is drinking coffee with a spoon out of a bowl because there aren't any clean cups.
Which is hilarious to me because I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Just drink from the bowl like it's a cup.
Oh, yeah. It's still
sip it,
it's still weird that he's using a spoon. But, like, yeah, it is one of those things. And I mean, the thing is as well, because let's be real, a lot of people, myself included, have ended up living in situations like that where you're in some crappy living space with friends. And, everything ends up getting on top of you because you just kind of, whatever, you're kind of stuck in this in this rut. The thing is, you are kind of supposed to move on past that point.
Yeah.
You know, even if you still carry on sharing a place and you still don't have any money, yeah, you should probably, like, you know, start actually trying to get your life together, though.
Yeah,
and, you know,
yeah.
And
it's like somebody like mop up, somebody wash the dishes, like at least have your life in order.
But I think there is a thing that happens when you are, obviously, particularly if you're also like drunk all the time. But I think just regardless, when you're living with somebody who doesn't give a shit, you kind of stop giving a shit because it's the only way you can deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Because otherwise, you've got two choices. Then you've either got to be the one person who does anything, or you just accept that nothing's going to get done.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's kind of what it feels like the situation they're living in is. I know that, I don't know how directly, but I know like the film is kind of loosely based around the diaries of the person who wrote it.
Oh,
but I don't know quite how. I think, you know, I don't think it's all as it was. I think it's probably like a series of very disconnected events that were just kind of then stitched together, and probably some invented. But the living conditions, I know that was based on reality. That was kind of where he was living at that point in time. It was with more people. It was with about 5 people, but you know, just some really shitty flat where, you know, everything's just gross and there's rodents everywhere and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never seen it get to the point where there's rodents everywhere. But...
No, like
not anymore. Everywhere than everywhere is as at the moment. Anyway, you're never more than 5 feet away.
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously, like, I mean, I've been in like houses and stuff where there's been like a rodent, like a rat or a mouse or something, but it's just a one, and usually that's just been when there's been cats and the cat brings one in and it's not actually dead, because cats do that sometimes.
Yeah,
they're
man.
Just not actually very good hunters.
They're just like I just want like something to play with.
Yeah,
because cats are sadistic. Did you know that cats are more oppressive and like effective killers when they are well fed? Yeah, because they're like, I've got all this like freaking free energy. Like, I'm just gonna kill some stuff.
Yeah.
Like, cats, the only other animal that kills for sport. Not really, because fucking killer whales are dickheads.
Killer whales, chimps do.
Yeah.
I think they're the only apes that do. I know chimps are fucking mental. They're also the only animal other than humans who have been seen indulging in what could only be described as ritualistic cannibalism.
Weird.
Yeah, the only 2 animals, humans and chimps.
Huh. They're like, well, they died. Everyone gather around. We were gonna eat like fucking Bob.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's usually like another like sort of I don't know what they're called with chimps, like colony or whatever.
Yeah, like group of them. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know animal group names. I don't understand who comes up with
Yeah,
that.
no, it's because isn't it like a council of gorillas or something stupid?
Yeah, council of gorillas. There's like
a troop of something or other.
Yeah. There's that. There's like murder of crows, because sometimes it gets really weird. I think ladybirds are called a loveliness.
Oh wait, it's a parliament. A parliament of gorillas.
Parliament. Yeah.
Which I do like to think about, like British Parliament, just with gorillas in it, though.
Pretty funny.
Now, just imagine Boris Johnson in like Parliament with a bunch of gorillas. Now that would be good.
Yeah, it really would as well, because like they probably wouldn't kill him, because that's not kind of how gorillas operate. Like, gorillas kind of like people, but they like them as pets, because again, like, apes are very close to us and they do things we do, and yeah, gorillas have been shown liking to keep pets, and they will do that with humans. They recognize that we are not like them. They don't treat us like a child. They very much treat us like a pet. That's actually how like people ingratiate themselves with gorillas, is by basically allowing them to become the gorilla's pet.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And that's a really funny thought. Boris Johnson just being some gorilla's pet.
Well, that just changed everything. All this time, we thought we were smarter than cats. But they've been smarter than us the whole time. They've just pretended to be our pet. Oh my god!
Oh yeah. No, that's legit. Yeah, cats 100% do that.
All right, well.
That's why I mean, their whole like they're so manipulative. Their meowing is literally modeled on babies crying.
I'm gonna go beat the shit out of my cat. That guy's got it coming. Like, yeah. So all that time, like the movie, is it Cats and Dogs, where the cats are like talking? Yeah. All that time, that's just real, but without the dogs part, because dogs are dumb.
I saw that movie in the cinema. I cannot articulate why.
You were a kid.
I wasn't that dumb of a kid though, you know. Like I feel like I was more discerning than that normally, a bit.
Yeah, like the weird thing is though, I remember seeing that movie, so I'm like, I don't know if I saw it in the cinema. You know when you can create false memories? Yeah, so I can just imagine seeing that movie in the cinema, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't think I did. Maybe I did. Maybe I saw it with like a friend. Like maybe they went to go see it.
Don't know. To be fair, I used to go to cinema a lot. I used to go to cinema like every other Sunday as a kid. So.
Remember when? Well, it didn't cost an arm and a leg, ironically, because at the time it was like cinema's so bloody expensive, and like you'd hear that from your parents all the time, and it's like, psh, you think it's expensive then? Just wait.
Oh, like View's pretty cheap.
Yeah, I went to the cinema to watch Thor: Love and Thunder.
Why?
Me and Sylvia were just out and we're like, do you want to watch a movie? Yeah. Like, yeah.
I just have to rip on that movie because I got out at the exact right time, apparently. I decided to stop watching Marvel movies at the exact moment that apparently they just got way worse, and I'm...
The movie's not even bad. Like, it's just not anything good or special. Like, it's just the movie.
So it's a Marvel movie?
Yeah. It's literally a Marvel movie. It's literally classic, back to B tier, like cinema. The only thing that was cool was, like, you know, Jane's in the movie, and she's kind of the best thing about the movie, really, because...
Oh, so they turned her into an actual character?
No. Oh, no, definitely.
Oh, okay.
It's just that there's consequences for her using, like, her powers and stuff, which is like, oh, cool, like, actual consequences. Too bad they never really do that any other time.
Anyway, you were saying that you went to see Love and Thunder in a cinema to do with cinemas being expensive.
Yeah. It was like £11 per ticket.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
What, have you?
Nah, that was
CineWorld. Yeah, CineWorld is more expensive.
It was just like, what the hell? I was like, I'll pay it, it's fine, but like, what is this bullshit?
Yeah, fuck that noise. Fuck that. This is why cinemas are dying.
Uh-huh. And classic cinema maneuver is to get more people in, we'll just raise the prices. Like,
Yeah, also well, it's a combination of that and the fact, look, it's Disney's fault the cinemas are dying. I get it, you know, like I understand, because basically in order to make a profit on it now they have to show those same movies on like 4 different screens all at once, which pushes out the competition, which is why all the movies are Marvel movies now.
Yep. Ironically though, you know what's crazy? You know Nope came out, and we've deviated bad.
It's fine.
You know, so Nope came out.
Yeah.
And they're just showing the other Jordan Peele movies.
Weird.
So, Us is in the cinema and Get Out.
Huh.
So you could go watch the trilogy if you want. Which, I'm like, that's cool, because I don't understand why old movies aren't just in the cinema anyway.
I'm noticing it's happening more and more, to be honest, because like they've been re-releasing all the Bond movies. Like, they did RoboCop a little while ago, which I'm so salty that I missed.
I was about to be like, why didn't you tell me?
I literally didn't know until, because it was one day. It was just one day that they showed it. And it was the day I went to see fucking Doctor Strange. And it was like, gee, I only knew when I got into the cinema. And I saw, because I swear, I didn't see it on the View website at all. And then I go into the cinema, like I've already bought my ticket at that point. And then I look up at the thing and it's like, RoboCop? What? And then like I looked to see if any listings are coming after. I was like, oh my God, it was one day. It was one day only. I could have seen RoboCop in the cinema.
Oh man, that's so fucking weak.
Yeah, but it does seem to be more of a thing now. Like,
yeah, because I'm like, mate, hell, I think that actual companies should just do mini marketing pushes and just be like, this movie's coming back out in the cinema.
Yeah.
Like, just do a small one. You don't have to like fucking blow out the bank and just do loads. But yeah,
more of that, and also maybe some actual like real movies that are new, but are actual movies, not just these fucking theme park ride bullshit. Fuck you, Martin Scorsese was right.
Hey man, I took shit from people I knew in real life being like, he's kind of right though, and that was then. Like, cause I was like the only guy at the time who was like, yeah, like technically it's art. Like, I'm not saying it's not, but like,
theme park ride is art.
Yeah, I'm like, my dude is still right though. Like, it's overly corporatized, and we're just getting one type of movie, which is definitely going to hurt the film industry in the future. And like, unfortunately, this isn't exactly the Western, because the Western didn't have like the most rigid formula ever. Like,
yeah. Also, the advantage that Disney have with the MCU that the Westerns didn't have is this it's an advantage until it's not, which is they're producing like 50 movies all at once, and they are all interconnected with one another, which kind of, when they all perform at the very least okay, then it's fine, because if one kind of underperforms, there's like 3 others that will overperform and it will make up for it, right? Until people stop going to see them all together, and then suddenly they'll have a bunch of movies mid-development that nobody's going to go and see. And we're heading towards that, because I'm noticing Marvel fatigue now. It's less and less of a controversial opinion as time's going on.
And I've been saying I'm at Marvel fatigue since Age of Ultron.
Same.
Like, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of done with these. Like, this movie was genuinely terrible. You wasted my time. Like next to Iron Man 2, that is like my most. Oh my God.
Iron Man 2 is truly terrible.
Iron Man 2 is beyond like the worst.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's the worst movie in the franchise.
Oh, without a doubt.
I don't give a goddamn how many people go, oh no, Thor the Dark World. I don't care if the movie's boring. Like, in like Iron Man 2, there's like dropped plot points. There's like 3 dropped plot points. Like the bird, the freaking fact that Tony Stark's family stole the arc reactor, and what's the other thing? Another thing to do with like some of the technology stuff, like just completely dropped. I forgot what it is.
Yeah.
It is like, this movie's fucking trash, and then like, oh yeah, they have literally no script, and they just let the actors just talk random.
Yeah.
Yeah. That explains it all.
Yeah. No, Iron Man 2 is the worst one. Like, I don't understand people who are like, 3 is the worst one. No, it's really not.
Yeah,
3 is just a mid-tier movie. It's fine.
Ironically, it tried to do more than quite a lot of other Marvel movies. So technically, I respect it a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it tried to give some depth to Tony Stark.
Yeah.
With like the whole PTSD thing. Like, yeah, that's something. It's not great, like I say, but it's fine. It's definitely better than Iron Man 2, or the first 2 Thor movies, or like fucking the first Doctor Strange movie.
Doctor Strange 2 is also not that good.
Doctor Strange 2 is watchable. Like that was my bar at this point. It's watchable. I like that it's got some nice Sam Raimi weirdness in it.
Yeah.
That's
Actually,
all I was really. That's all I was really watching it for. I was just like, these movies suck anyway. I don't give a shit. I just want to watch some weird Sam Raimi shit, and I got some weird Sam Raimi shit.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair.
that was our review of Withnail I. This really is the spiritual successor to the Rubber review.
Like, genuinely good movie.
It's really good. It's just hard to talk about.
Yeah. It is like, what now? Yeah, I enjoyed that movie. It's one of those watches where I'm like, that's going to get me thinking about a lot of stuff. Like, again, cinematography was nice.
Yeah.
It was good in that. Like, they did some nice long takes, good movement, and they just picked interesting stuff. Like, I love the shot where I think his narrator is running back in and slips over on the mud.
Oh, yeah.
But like they've just perched the camera on the roof of another building, and you can just kind of see a little bit of the roof. And I'm like, this is just an interesting shot. Like it's kind of aerial, but like there's also it feels like it's within the environment because I can see where it's perched.
Yeah.
I was like, this is just good. Like I like that. That was nice. Like, why did they choose this? I don't like. They just wanted him to fall over. Like, just to have like a mundane thing happen, but then to make it interesting, they framed it interestingly.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. We never talk about cinematography.
No.
No. Apart from Alien 3, talked about cinematography quite a bit in that, but that's a David Fincher movie. It's a prerequisite. You have to talk about cinematography if you're going to do a David Fincher movie.
Sure.
But yeah, I agree. No, it is a really, really good movie. Like I say, it's not a film I've seen many times, but every time I see it, I do really, really enjoy it. It's not a film you can kind of rewatch loads and like, it's not The Warriors.
Although Danny could definitely be in The Warriors though.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Like, he could fit right in there. He could kill Cyrus.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, could you imagine him being like, Warriors, come out to play. Like, we're here to get you, Warriors. From Coney Island, now it's here. Like, what? Yeah.
So you can, they should, whoever is the distributor for Withnail I, put that on the back of the Blu-ray box. It's not The Warriors. That's our review quote for you to use. 5 stars, it's not The Warriors. Really useful. Anything else to add?
No, I think that's good.
Okay, we are in season 2 now. Hopefully we can start doing these a bit more regularly now. There was several gaps, some of which have reasons, some of which we just kind of, I'm not going to be real, we kind of forgot.
Yeah.
But we're back, baby. And until next time, Ian Beale.